Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tips for Hiring in a Competitive Market webinar. My name is Ken DeRouchie, and I am the editor of the Practice Solution magazine. I'm also a practice analyst for Silkin Management Group. Silkin's a practice management consulting firm I've worked for about 34 years now. I've worked with over 15,000 practices individually, helping them with issues that they've had with their practice on the business side. And because of that, I helped found our magazine back in 2002. I've been a principal writer for the magazine since that time. And I took over as the editor of the magazine in 2012. So that gives you a little bit of my background. I really appreciate you all being here today. And some of the topics that we're going to be covering today in this webinar are going to cover offering a competitive salary, using smart sourcing to find qualified people. This is a service that's on Indeed.com, and I know a lot of people use Indeed for hiring. I have a feeling this is going to be a section of that site a lot of people aren't familiar with. We're going to go over using hiring tests to help determine who to hire. And we're going to be talking about creating and implementing proper job descriptions and office policy, and how this helps to really onboard and train people, get them up and running quicker, and really be a productive member of your staff. We're going to start by going over to Indeed.com. I'm actually going to walk you through how to use a couple of things there. And just to get this out of the way, I'm not affiliated with Indeed in any way. This is just a service that I use myself when I'm doing hiring for the magazine here. And there's some things that I have learned that I think can be very useful for you. So I'm going to flip from this right over to Indeed and kind of show you what's going on here. So to start with, we're talking about offering a competitive salary. And the reason that I want to talk about this is if you are not offering something that's competitive in comparison to what your competition in the area is offering, a lot of applicants are going to ignore your ad. So it's really important to know what people are offering in your area so you can adjust what you're offering so that it's competitive. By no means am I saying that you should, be offering, the highest salary out there for the position. You just need to be competitive. The problem is if you're on the low side or below everybody, all the top applicants that have the most experience, they're going to be applying for those positions that are offering a lot more than you are, which means that the people you're going to be getting resumes from are the people that were either rejected from those top paying jobs, or new grads that don't feel comfortable or don't feel worthy in their own estimation to be going for the top paying jobs. And so you're going to end up really getting bottom of the barrel as far as applicants go. So it's really important to know where your competitors are at, what they're offering, and so you can adjust accordingly. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start out by going, this is the main page of Indeed.com. So if you just go into your browser window, you don't have to do it now. I'm going to show you a demonstration of it. You can do this later. But you can go in and put the job title in that you're looking to hire for and the city that you're in. Right now, let's do a dental search. And yeah, okay, dental hygienist, that's a good one. Let's say I'll use Tacoma, Washington as an example here. So we're going to put that in and do a search. And you'll see that it comes up right away. There's 25 plus jobs listed here. And these are all jobs that are posted by different practices in that area. So it says right here, what the job is, where they're located, and what they're offering. 55 to 75 an hour. This one's from 80 an hour. This one's 65 an hour, full time, 65 or 60 to 85. This one's 100,000 to 124.8 per year. Then it goes on from there. What you can do is take a look at what's available in your area, and really check and make sure that you're in the ballpark, that you're in the mix, that you're competitive with what you're offering, so that you're not going to miss a bunch of the top candidates that you could be hiring. And this is a great tool to determine before you ever put an ad out on Indeed or anywhere else, what should you be offering in order to be competitive to attract the best quality of applicants. So that's the first thing that I wanted to go over with you. The second thing here on Indeed has to do with using a service that they offer called Smart Sourcing. The way that you access this, over in the top right-hand corner of this page, you will see employers post job. That's where you log in with your employer's account. So we're going to click on that. Let's take us to a landing page. You want to hit the post a job link right there. You'll see over in the navigation on the left side, it says Smart Sourcing. So we're going to click on that. And it's going to bring this page up. Now, I don't currently have this subscription paid for. I'm not hiring anybody right now, but it's still going to serve its purpose to show you what I'm talking about. You click on Search for Candidates. And then again, just like on the main page, it has a couple of search bars. Let's put this location in Lenexa, Kansas. And first thing on the list, veterinary technician. What this is going to do is it's going to search for actual veterinary technicians in that area. And you're seeing it's coming back with 576 resumes that match the criteria. And that's because the way that the default is set with Indeed is they have filters. The first one is distance, within 25 miles of Lenexa, Kansas. I always bump this down to 10 miles. I think people are less likely to commute longer distances. It also defaults to resume last updated within 6 months. I always change this to a month. Let's get it current. I want fresh resumes. You'll notice now that this bumps our resumes from 500 and some down to 76. Now, if you had the paid subscription for this, you wouldn't just see that it was a veterinary technician in Shawnee, Kansas, or in Lenexa, Kansas listed. You would see that person's name, and under the name, it would show the last 3 places that they worked. And you can click on each name, and it's going to bring up a full copy of their resume. So you're going to be able to see their education, licenses and certifications, their job history, references, everything you would see on a normal resume. If you like what you see and you're interested in that particular person, you can actually click a button to contact them and send them an email directly. It doesn't send it to their Indeed account, it sends it to their actual email inbox. And I always recommend, when I'm using this service myself, I put together a little template for my initial contact saying, hey, and I put their name in, hello, Joan, I found your resume on Indeed.com, and I'm interested in talking to you about the position we have available right now. I would love to reach out and contact you. Please let me know if this sounds of interest. And Indeed puts a little button in that email that they can click that says, yes, I'm interested, which will then notify you through Indeed that they are interested in talking to you. And more importantly, in their resume, it now unlocks their phone number so you can contact them directly. So what this does is it really puts you in control of the hiring process. Instead of putting an ad out there somewhere, whether it's on Indeed or any other service, online, whatever it is, and then you get a million different resumes, which most of them are unqualified, and you have to sift through all of them. You are only contacting qualified people that you're interested in talking to, right? And it puts you much more in control of the whole hiring process. Being able to get their phone number directly in this manner and then just reach out and call them rather than waiting for people to contact you, again, it puts the power in your hands. It's a much more direct way to hire and gives you a lot more control in the process. And this was the first big thing that I wanted to talk to you about for the hiring process. It really gives you a lot more control. I'm going to move on to how to determine who to hire and using some tests in order to be able to do that. Let me share another screen here with you. So I'm going to start out by saying what I see as the most common hiring practice out there. And this is based on me talking to thousands of doctors around the country. Just about everybody I've talked to in my 30+ year career hires relatively close to this scenario. So you put an ad out there, whether it's on Indeed, wherever it is, if it's social media, you church bulletin board, whatever it is, you put an ad out, you get resumes, you sift through them. If something looks of interest, you contact somebody. If they happen to actually answer the phone and you like how they sound on the phone, you bring them in for an interview. And if they say the right things, you roll the dice and take a shot. Right? And there's nothing objective in this process. Right? And what I mean by that is, nobody's going to put on their resume that they have a slight drug problem, they're chronically late, and they don't get along well with others. Right? They're only putting the things on their resume that they want you to see. So, their work history or part of it, if they've got a bad work history somewhere, they got fired from someplace, they're not going to list that. So there might be a gap. They might fudge the gap a little by extending, working time, before and after that to try to shrink it. They're only going to put the references on the resume that they think are going to make them sound good. They'll call those people ahead of time and say, hey, I'm using you as a resume, make me sound good. All right, so it's, again, there's nothing objective about it. It's all one-sided. The same is true of the interview, right? They're going to come in and just say the things that they think you want to hear in order for them to get the job. There's a million websites out there. You can go and Google, what should I say in a job interview? And there's websites everywhere that'll tell you, oh, use these words and use these key catchphrases and things that you say that'll interest a prospective employer. So they say the things, you're impressed, you roll the dice and take a shot, and it takes, a lot of times 6 to 12 weeks for you to really, at that point, then figure out and know who you've really hired. And what I mean by that is, when people first get hired, they're on their best behavior typically. So they're, dotting all their I's, crossing all their T's. They're on their best behavior around their new coworkers and their new bosses. And as time goes on, they figure out, what they can get away with, what rules they can bend and what they can break and what the boundaries are. And they start relaxing and they start showing you who they really are. Right? Hopefully you've made a good hiring decision, but a lot of times you haven't. So by using hiring tests, you can actually get a whole lot more objective data about who these people are to help you determine if you want to hire them. So what I'm talking about as far as hiring tests would be a personality test, an aptitude test, and an IQ test. And what these do is they help you. They fill in the picture, they fill in the blanks. They give you a broad perspective on what this person is like and whether or not they're worth your time to interview. And, are they going to fit in to your staff, your culture, and, be an asset or a hindrance? So tests like these will let you know, are they self-motivated? Are they fast learners? Are they good problem solvers? They have good communication skills. Are they a team player? Do they have a good work ethic? Are they on time? And, are they able to think on their feet? Or are they lazy and unmotivated? And they're poor communicators. They're a loner. They don't work well in a team environment, or they're prone to theft and embezzlement. They have difficulty learning. Testing them before you interview them, can give you a real objective perspective and data about who they are and what they're like, so that you can base your hiring decision on that rather than just roll the dice and take a shot. So what we recommend is, you get that resume. If it looks good, call them on the phone. If they sound good on the phone, let them know. What I'd like to do next is bring you in to do some testing. It's hiring testing that really helps us determine your strengths and weaknesses and where to best place you in the office. And you bring them in, you do that testing, and if the testing goes well, do an interview with them. If you find out that they're on the latter side of these things that I was talking about, and they're a loner and lazy and unmotivated and all those things, avoid them with a 10-foot pole. You don't want to bring that into, your already working atmosphere in your office and your culture and create problems. This isn't 100% foolproof, right? But it does give you so much more data to base a decision on that will help you bring in people that are going to be more long-term. You're not going to have as much turnover. You're going to have more retention with your staff. You're going to be bringing staff in that are going to get well or get along well with others. And so you're going to build a team. And that's what it's all about, is building that really good team. And this is a great tool in the toolbox to use to onboard people and, find out, who they are and who's going to fit your team. The next thing that we're going to talk about is creating and implementing proper job descriptions and office policies, and how this really, really is a major key element to onboarding people, training them, getting them up and running quicker so that they are a fully operational part of your team. What is a job description? Let's start there. I'll tell you what I've seen a lot of people tell me a job description is, they tell me that they have basically a list of all the responsibilities that person needs to cover, on that position. And in my perspective, that is not a job description. A job description should not only be a list of all those responsibilities, but you fill in how to do each one of those responsibilities step by step. It details it out so there's nothing left to guessing or to chance or to somebody just trying to figure it out on their own. If you are relying mostly on, I've got this list of responsibilities and then we're going to fill in all the blanks with verbal instruction, you're setting yourself up for problems. And the reason being is because nobody on the planet has perfect recall memory, right? They're not going to remember everything exactly how it was told to them. So they're going to forget little things. They're going to forget details. They might forget certain things altogether. And so that's when you start hearing, I didn't know that's what you meant, or I didn't know that was my job, or so-and-so told me I should do it this other way, or that's not what you said 2 weeks ago. It creates problems, right? It's going to create problems because nobody can remember all that stuff. And so you get frustrated. Now I'm having to tell you again. Or the person that they were shadowing is like getting frustrated because, now I got to tell you how to do this again. Or they come up and they're like, how do I do this? Are you sure this is my job? I don't remember this. It just creates a lot of problems. So if you get this stuff in writing, not just a list of responsibilities, but exactly how to do each and everything detailed out step by step, not only is it going to help with the training process, it's going to shorten the learning curve because it's all there in black and white. Use a check sheet to get them trained on how to do each and every step. It's going to shorten their learning curve and get them doing not only the job, but doing it the right way, the way you want it done. Now, if everybody doing that position is trained that way, now we're building consistency. Everybody's doing it the same way every time, right? It empowers them, to do the job. And, it gives you something to correct them by and to hold them accountable to. So no longer can they come to you and say, I didn't know, or so-and-so said, or whatever the million excuses you can hear. You just say, no, that's not true because it's in your job description in writing. I want you to go look it up. And they say, well, so-and-so said I should do it. Why are you listening to them when your job description says, hey, do it like this, go look it up. So it's empowering for them. It's a great tool for you to hold them accountable to. I have a lot of people that I have this talk with. I've talked to a lot of people about this. And they tell me, Ken, in theory, this is all great. It sounds wonderful. But the reality is, I'm the doctor. I don't have time to put all this together. And the good news is it's not your job, right? Wearing your doctor hat, right? Put that on, delegate, and review. The delegate part is, find the person that's the skilled staff member that's doing that position, already in your practice. You have multiple front desk people or multiple assistants or multiple whatever's in your job. Find the one that's doing it the best. Bring them in and sit them down one by one and let them know, look, I have an assignment for you. And I'm going to give you a week to do it. What I want you to do is just put together the list of responsibilities for your job. Not anybody else's job, just their job. and tell them to do it in a digital format, a Word document, a Google Doc, something that's editable, right? And make sure that it's an assignment. Don't ask them, hey, when you get some time, work on this. They'll never get that, right? So make sure that you assign it to them, you give them a week, and have them put this list together and then send it to you. Then you do the job of reviewing their work. Did they list everything that's a responsibility? If not, you know what it is, add it. Put an asterisk by it so you can go over it with them and make sure that they understand that's part of their job. Did they list something that somebody else should be doing? If so, put a line through it. Go over that with them and say, hey, that's not your job. I'm going to go tell the person to make sure they start doing it. But once you've gone through this correction, you now have an agreed upon list of what all their responsibilities are, and you send it back to them. And you let them know, I have another assignment for you. It's going to take you a month. I want it done in a month. And I want you to go through each and every one of these responsibilities and list out how to accomplish it from start to finish. Every step. Make sure, even when you tell them, let them know you want as much detail that somebody could come in off the street and follow it and actually accomplish those tasks. That's the kind of detail you're looking for. Give them a month on this. It's going to take them a little while. Once they're done and they submit it back to you, go through it again. You're reviewing it. You delegated it. Now you're reviewing it. And make sure that it all makes sense. Make sure there's nothing ambiguous or too vague. Make sure that they have all the steps. Make sure there's no extra steps that are unnecessary. If there are any changes that need to be made, send it back to them and say, I need you to fill in the blanks on this. It's too vague. Or this has too many steps. You don't need to do this and this. They're unnecessary. And once they send you back with the changes, if you agree with everything, you now have a finalized job description for anybody doing that position in your practice, right? And you can use it to empower them, to teach them, onboard new people as you hire them, get them trained quicker, up and running, and doing it exactly the way, not kind of the way, but exactly the way you want it done each and every time. And what it does is it builds consistency and dependability and efficiency. Everyone doing that job is going to do it the same way, in and out every time. So you as the doctor don't have to be left wondering, oh, who's on today? Oh, it's Mary. Mary does it this other way, and I got to remember because I have to shift what I'm doing based on what they're doing. You can eliminate that, right? Get everybody on the same page doing it the same way and base it on the written job description. So eliminate the fights, empower the staff, and you can hold them accountable if they're not doing it correct, right? Because you have something in writing that details exactly and specifically what's needed and wanted. So I want to talk about office policies now, as opposed to job descriptions. Office policies and job descriptions, I've been using a certain analogy. It's a football analogy to talk about these two things. Even if you're not a football fan, you'll totally follow it. Job descriptions for me are like the playbook that the players are issued when they join the team. They get that playbook, they have to memorize each one of those plays. They practice them and run them over and over and over and over to perfect them so that each player is at the right place at the right time so that the whole team can accomplish that play, right? And it's successful. That's what job descriptions do. If everybody's got a really detailed job description in every position, right, they're all going to be doing the right thing at the right time to support each other and be a team. Right? Office policies, on the other hand, are like the rule book that governs the game, right? And everybody has to abide by the same set of rules. It sets the boundaries, the penalties. It lets you know all the basics, needed equipment and your uniform and, game time and, what happens if you're tardy or absent and, computer and cell phone usage on the job. And, it also needs to detail consequences for actions and inactions on the job. So if somebody fails to follow their job description, or if they violate policy, there have got to be consequences in place. So you would put together a policy that details this out. So it would say something along the lines of, on a first offense, we're going to have a verbal warning. On a second offense, a written warning. On a third offense, we're going to have a sit-down meeting and figure out why this keeps happening and come up with an idea so it doesn't happen again. And on a fourth offense, Well, if there is a fourth offense, it could come down to a suspension without pay, or depending on the severity, termination. And every time one of these things occurs, a violation, it's going to get written up and added to their employee folder, and it could potentially count against their ability to get a raise the next time employee reviews come around. So now there are real consequences in place. The problem is if you don't have these consequences, if they think the only thing that's going to happen if they violate something like this is that somebody's going to frown at them, it's not going to change your behavior. So you need to have something in place to hold them accountable for it, right? So if you have these things in place, when they have one of those big, busy days, where it's been going room to room to room to room all day, and they're getting towards the end of their shift, and they think, man, I still haven't done this and this and this. If I don't do those things, I might get written up. Or, shoot, it's happened before. I might have that big bad meeting with the office manager and the doctor. I don't want that. Or I could get suspended, or I could get written up again and not get my raise the next time reviews come around, and they're really counting on that raise. There are real tangible things in place they have to think with, and it helps them take responsibility for their job and get it done. As opposed to if somebody's just going to frown at them, they might go, you know what, I'm just too tired. I don't feel like it. I'm not going to do those things. And then oftentimes, at the end of the day, office manager or the doctor's closing up for the night, locking the door, and they go, oh, this didn't get done, that didn't get done. I need to get those done before we leave. They can't be left undone. Or God forbid, nobody realizes it. It doesn't just get done. It falls through the cracks and nobody ever notices it. And now you've got things hanging fire. So job descriptions and office policies, and then having consequences. This is what I call the playbook and the rule book. You got the playbook, the job descriptions for everybody. You got the rule book that governs the game. And you've got the consequences for actions and inactions on the job, to hold them accountable and to really help them take responsibility. I really want to thank you all for attending. That's what I have for you today. I hope you found some really good pearls of wisdom in here, some nuggets that you can use, some things that will help you with hiring and onboarding. I would like to let you know that, if you still have questions on any of this that I've gone over today, or if you have other questions on other topics related to the business side of your practice, I would like to offer you the ability. You can sign up with me for a 1-hour over the phone consult. This is not any kind of sales call. I'm not going to try to sell you anything. This is just you and me doing a 1-hour call where we can talk about any area of the business side of your practice, staffing, marketing, management, systems, internet, writing reviews, how to get more reviews for practice, any of this stuff. I'll give you my opinions. I'll give you recommendations. So if you have questions, things that are bugging you on the business side of the practice, you can get it set up. Other than that, I really, really appreciate you coming out to this today. I hope you find it useful. I hope you got something out of it that you can take back to your practice. And thank you very much. It was a pleasure to do this.